Hello guys, I am Sumit Kumar Das and welcome back to SK Neuron. You're watching the next episode in our LangChain course playlist. Today we are deep diving into one of the most powerful feature in LangChain, that is tool calling. If you have ever wondered how AI agents can actually do things like search database, fetch weather data, or interact with APIs, then this video is for you. We'll start with the concepts and theory, and then I will show you everything working live with real code examples. By the end of this video, you will know how to create tools, bind them with the models, and how to even handle complex scenarios like parallel tool call or streaming. So let's jump in. So first, what exactly are tools? Most of the AI applications interact with users through natural language. You ask a question, the AI responds. Simple, right? But what if your AI needs to do more than just talk? For example, what if it needs to query a database? Or what if it needs to call an external API? Or do a web search? Or simple math calculations? A tool is essentially combination of two things. First is schema and second is function. A schema that defines tools name, it defines tools description, and if some inputs are required to perform that particular requirement. Then comes the function. The function is the actual code that executes when the tool is get called. You can think of it like schema tells the AI what the tool does. Okay, what does schema do? It tells what the tool does, while function is the tool that actually doing work. The beauty here is that AI model can decide on its own when to use a tool based on the user questions. You are not hard coding. LLM or the AI has to decide if I need temperature, I need to call the weather tool call. If I need to do certain math calculation, I need to call the math API. The model has to figure it out intelligently. Alright, let me show you how to create a first tool. But before that, I have already completed the LangChain setup with Gemini models in my notebook. But if you are not sure how to get started, check out the videos I have attached here, where I will walk you through the entire LangChain setup using Python and demonstrate how to interact with different types of model in detail. So first I have imported the tool from the LangChains. Now watch this. Creating a tool is super simple. Let me create a basic database search tool. See what I did here. The tool decorator, that's what makes this a LangChain tool. And there is a regular Python function with type fields and the doc string is super important because the AI model read this to understand what the tool does. And I am returning a simple string, but in real life this would do the actual query with our actual database. Now let me run this and show you how what we can get from this. So first let me print with function name we can do everything search database dot name. So if I'm searching the name of the tool, so it is printing as such database. Next let me print the description. I mean, when you are using this tool or give this tool the model, how the model will read this tool. So that is using the description, and that description will come from the doc string. Whatever we have provided in the doc string, that will come from there. Now, what if you want a custom name? That's super easy. Just pass it to the decorator. So let me take the same one and add the tool. Let me give it like web search. Okay. Now, if I will print search database.name. Now, previous time we saw that it is coming as search database. Now it is coming as web search. Similarly, if you want to customize the description, you can give that as well. Let me just reuse this. Here only I can pass description. I have override the description completely. Let me run this and let me show you what the description looks like. See, previously if you are not giving this parameter implicitly, then it will take your doc string as the default description, but you can customize your name and you can customize your description as well. Okay, now we will see for complex input. If you have the complex input, how to define your schema. So we already know that in our schema we define our name, we define our description, and what the tool actually does, or whatever the inputs required. So for whenever you will having the complex input, then how to pass. So here I am passing with simple input of query and limit. So for the complex input, you can use two way. One is using the pedantic models, and the second one is using the JSON schema. We'll see the both way. So this is the first way. Same thing also I can define using JSON schema as well. See, in this pedantic model, what it exactly defines? It defines that location is required. Unit must be either in Celsius or Fahrenheit. It cannot be anything apart from that. Forecast is optional, but its default value is placed to be false. And each field has a description that will give some extra knowledge to the model to understand what input will be required to do the tool calling. And now as I defined the tool, let me do the test. So I have defined here. I gave the location as Boston, I gave the units as Fahrenheit, and I kept the include forecast as true. So if you're not providing the include forecast, by default will take you the false value. So this custom schema gives the model a really clear guidance on exactly what data to provide and in which format. And similarly, we saw how we can provide the same thing using the JSON schema as well. Alright, creating the tools is done now. Now let's see how we can really connect these tools to the language model. Many times you hear the term also as function calling. That will be most of the time interchangeably with the tool calling as well. So tool calling and function calling are same. They are just interchangeable name. So first I need a model which I already initialized here. Okay, I have already initialized a Gemini model here if you see. But you can use any LangChain compatible model. Let me define it. So there is a function called as bind tools that will bind the tool weather with our model. Binding means it has integrated. Now the model knows that there is a tool called as get weather. So the bind tool methods takes a list of tools. Here I am just providing one tool, but you can provide a list of tools and make them available to the model. The model now can see this tool, whichever the tool has been attached to it, and it will decide when to use those tools. So let me now invoke those tools, or let me use those tools now. See what happened. The model didn't give me a weather report, but it gave me a request to call the weather tool with location Boston. The model is saying, hey, to answer this question, you need to call this tool with these arguments. So model will never execute the tool calls. It doesn't have that capability. So this is important to understand that model doesn't actually execute the tool. It just tells you to execute it. So to execute the tool now you need to create something what's called as tool execution loop. Let me show you. Perfect. Now we have the complete loop where user first asks about the weather, then model decides to use the weather tool, then we execute the tool and get the results and pass back the result to the model, and then model generates a natural language response using those results. So our final result is the weather in Boston is 72 degree in Celsius. So if you are using LangChain agent, that will handle this entire loop automatically for you. But it is always crucial to understand what's happening behind the scenes step by step. Some of the model providers also offer built-in tools that can be enabled by model or invocation parameters. For example, Chat OpenAI or Chat Anthropic. That is called a server-side tool calling. It means the model will invoke the tool on server side, and the content of the response of the message will include content representing the invocation and result of the tool. For example, let's see here. I am asking to the OpenAI what was a positive news story from today. So it is supposed to use the web search tool to get me the response. And I have attached one tool to here also, type of web search. But I am not doing the tool call from my side. The OpenAI will do the tool call from its own server side. Let's see how it is giving the response. See, it gave the response. It did the web search. Alright, let me show you some powerful advanced features. First one is forcing tool calls. Sometimes you want to force the model to use a specific tool. So let me run this. Okay, see, even though I just said, tell me about the Boston without mentioning the weather, but the model was forced to call the weather tool because we specified the tool choice with the get weather. You can also force to use any tool from the list. So instead of this, you can put it tool choice as any. Then it will use all the tools available from your tool search. For example, I have defined one more tools. For example, search database I have, right? I have defined it earlier. So now it will use any of the tool between search database and get weather. Now here is something really cool thing we'll see. Parallel tool calls. So let me create a query that needs multiple tool invocations. Let me run this. See here, the model is smart enough to make the two calls at once, one for Boston and one for Tokyo. It knows these are independent operations that can run in parallel. And if you want also, you can disable parallel calls using making the parallel tool call is equal to false. Now let me show you the streaming that is great for real-time applications. Let me run this. See how the tool calls are arriving in chunks. You can see the arguments being built up progressively. First, it is coming LO. Then location is coming in three chunks. Okay, this gives you a progressive update as the model generates the tool call. And now you can accumulate these tool chunks as well to build the complete tool calls as they are streaming in. Now I have accumulated all the tool calls into one. It is the final accumulated tool calls. Alright, so we have covered how to create basic and advanced tools with complex input including pedantic and JSON schema. We also see how to bind the tools to models and how to execute the tool loop. And sometimes if you need, you can do the forcing tool call as well, parallel tool call and streaming tool calls also. If you found this helpful, smash the like button and subscribe for more such LangChain tutorials. And turn on the bell notification so don't miss the upcoming videos. Drop the comment if you have any questions or want to see any specific tool calling patterns. The code from this video is in the description below. Thanks for watching. I will see you next one. Till then, keep learning, keep coding and keep growing.